First you draw a circle, then you dot the I's, add a great big smile, and presto! It's Kirby! Welcome to IronFury Plays Kirby's Adventure for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And do I have a long story to tell? While you're watching this tutorial, I will explain everything. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, in the year 2008, which is really not that long ago in hindsight, I did my first ever LP. I did one called Let's Play Kirby's Adventure. And it was awful. It was terrible. It was laughable. It was shameful. And, quite frankly, I just didn't like it. Now, there were a lot of problems with this LP. First off, I was starting out for the first time, and I decided to use technology that was simply not that good. I used Hypercam, which had infamous problems with desyncing in the audio and video department. Of course, it also had huge lag problems, and quite frankly, the videos came out looking like shit. Not to mention, I did live commentary then, so of course my narration wasn't synced with the video, or the game audio even. Another problem that I had was that, quite frankly, I tried to imitate other LPers instead of getting my own style. And I basically just gave you a generic LP that didn't really accomplish much. I also didn't beat the game 100%, I just played through it just a regular old playthrough. And you know that when I do these, these playthroughs, I'm an overachiever. I want to do everything. And trust me when I tell you, we will be doing everything in this game. Or at least everything that's remotely relevant. But that's all in the past. Let's go on with the future here. One day, the peaceful life of Dreamland was shattered by a mysterious crisis. The inhabitants didn't dream. Oh no, that sounds awful. On the edge of Dreamland, dreams and hope once gushed forth from the Dream Spring, fueled by the Star Rod. Ooh. Investigating the Dream Spring, Kirby found naughty King DDD swimming in its magical waters. Oh no. Fuck you, DDD. DDD had broken the Star Rod and given the pieces to his friends, who are now hiding in Dreamland. That bastard! To bring back the lost dreams, Kirby sought the Star Rod. And with that story out of the way, I think it's time we actually get to the game. And I'm going to delete this little practice file here. Yes, I want to delete this. And let's begin. Our first level is Vegetable Valley, which is basically your typical foresty kind of area. And every time we start a level, we get this little cutscene here. It usually shows off either a funny scene or something that actually might be useful. Now, of course, you know Kirby is known for inhaling and copying his enemies' abilities. And this is the first game where he actually does this. Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy, while it was the first Kirby game, didn't actually do that. Instead, you just had to inhale and exhale your enemies the old-fashioned way. But now we have the copy ability, and it offers us some pretty cool abilities, like Beam. Beam is basically like an energy whip, that just kills enemies when you hit them with it. In fact, I find a lot of abilities in this game are a lot more powerful than they would be in the future. Usually they'll kill regular enemies in one hit. And we now are using Spark, which basically gives us a little barrier of electricity that'll kill enemies as they come toward us. And that's a pretty good ability too. I find that a lot of the more elemental abilities tend to have two variations. Like, you'll have a sort of barrier version, and then you'll just have like a short-range version. You'll see, for example, when we get into Fire and Fireball, as well as Ice and Freeze. And, well, I see that we have a crane game to play. Use the buttons to move the crane and try to get a Kirby. The Kirbys are actually extra lives. This small one right here that I'm going to go after. Come on, carefully now. Alright, we got that one. That's actually one up. However, as you can see, there is a fat Kirby. And that Kirby is actually 2 lives, and it's a lot harder to get. Come on. Careful now. Careful. Damn it! Oh well. At least I got 1 up. And with that, we're already starting Section 2. Now, another thing I like about this game is the soundtrack. This game has an awesome soundtrack. But yeah, you know what? I'm going to show off another ability. We have Cutter. Now, Cutter is a pretty unique ability in the sense that you actually get more distance when the Cutter boomerang goes behind you rather than in front of you. Well, because, like I said, it's a boomerang. But as you can see, when you actually jump out of the way of the boomerang, it'll actually go all the way out, you know, to the edge of the screen. Whereas when you throw it in front of you, it'll only go a short distance. And we just beat Poppy Brother Sr., and he gives us the Crash ability. Unfortunately, Bomb is not in this game. Bomb wouldn't actually come into play until Kirby Superstar, which I already did. Crash, on the other hand, is a one-off ability in which you will actually kill all enemies on the screen. And it's a pretty useful ability, but thankfully it's not one we get all the time. Otherwise, this game would be way too easy, and it's already pretty easy now. Ooh, I see a Maxi Tomato. Come on, out of the way. Did it seriously just despawn on me? That is one problem about the older Kirby games in general, is they have a real problem with spawning issues. Enemies tend to respawn right away, and sometimes items even spawn out of the scenery. It's weird like that, but nothing too dangerous anyway. Or too annoying, even. And we already have a sword ability here. I'll take that. Now, Sword is actually kind of like a counter ability to Cutter, because you're still dealing with a blade, except one is shorter range, one is longer range. And I got a 1-up here, because I got to the top of this little cloudy area, which basically the whole point of that little minigame is to try and get a 1-up. You get to the bottom with your little spring there, and you try to shoot back up. I gotta say, I really like the checkerboard tile here with the yellow and green. Right, reminds me of a game by Square called 3D Battles of the World Runner, which is a game I really should do. In fact, the music is oddly similar too. Not so much the melody, but the whole joyous vibe to it. Give me this. And this is Fireball. This is kind of what I was talking about. And, well, you know, I probably shouldn't have gotten hit, but you have a regular fire ability, which will have Kirby shoot fire out of his mouth, and then you have the Fireball ability, which engulfs Kirby in fire and launches him forward. Now, I find that the elemental abilities kind of have that kind of thing going for it. Like, see, you got regular fire here, he's got Fire Breath, and then you got one that actually surrounds Kirby. But there's also Ice and Freeze. Ice actually has Kirby have Ice Breath, and Freeze, which is an ability we'll see in a little bit, actually has a barrier around Kirby. I find that a lot of the elemental ones really do that. Not so much with Spark, because Spark is the barrier move. I guess you can say Beam is kind of the short-ranged move, but, you know, it's up for your own interpretation, I guess. Hey, got another 1-up. Awesome. Ooh, what is this on the left that I see? Museum? Ooh, sword ability. I want that. I didn't want that anyway. Stupid piece of shit, no good sword ability. Gotta go ruin everything I do. Stupid move. Ooh, you know what? I like this song. I like this ability. I'm gonna use Spark. And we have another mini-boss up here. We got old Chili the Walrus here. Actually, that's not his name. I just called him that. And here I was talking about Freeze, which is the barrier ability for Ice. Enemies get within your little barrier here, and they will freeze, and you can knock them back. I actually like ice a lot. Or freeze. I like ice too, but I like freeze a lot here. It's a pretty useful ability. Nicely done. But if you see what I mean, though, the barrier abilities are actually pretty good in this game. Actually, you know what? I probably shouldn't have killed him because he gives off a new ability too, one that actually wasn't in the tutorial. This guy gives off Needle, which is another barrier-style ability. Which you could argue is the barrier ability for the sword, you know, for the sword cutter combo. But, you know, not really. Wow, who's this guy? Hey, he's giving us a lollipop, and it makes us invincible! Awesome. That dashing man will clearly be beneficial to us in the future. And we're already done with that part. Aw, I only got 2. Oh well. Oh, we're already at a boss. Whenever you see D in front of these doors, that means we're at a boss. And this boss is Wispy Woods. You've seen this plenty of times. Fuck your shit, Wispy. Fuck you. No one gives a shit about you. Get the Star Rod. And then we do our victory dance. We kicked Wispy Woods as he was bullshit. And next time, we will do Ice Cream Island. I think this is a good place to wrap things up here. And what the fuck, man? But yeah, next time, we will do Ice Cream Island. Until next time, take care, and let's hope this LP's better than the last one.